Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. It's been a couple days since we put the backing on all the bows, so we let the glue cure for a little bit, and now it's time to unwrap them and see how they turned out. Alright, first we've got the rawhide bow. So we had that wrapped up with some 8 bandages to kind of keep everything nice and tight. Let's see how it turned out. Not bad. This actually looks pretty cool. The rawhide is super flat. I was scared it was going to be kind of wobbly and bumpy, but it actually laid down really smoothly. It even, here on the corners, it actually wrapped the corner really tightly, which is great. I mean, all this stuff on the edges is going to get sanded back. We're going to trim the top ends here. But overall, I think it actually came out really good. I don't know if you can see that. Even on the seams here, it didn't shrink as much as I thought, which is good. That means that I can sand or cut this back a little bit to try and give myself some flush joints there where the rawhide meets up. Or maybe just kind of sand it down so you don't see that joint as prominently. But other than that, it's actually really good, and it is like rock hard on this. So far, so good. I really like the way that turned out. The other one we had was the canvas bow. So this one turned out pretty well. The canvas dried up really nicely. It's a nice, stiff, solid layer. And again, we're going to trim all this stuff down so it's flush with the wood. We're going to taper the end here. But overall, it's actually pretty decent, and it's still got a little bit of flex. And again, we're going to start shaping this to really get that bow to flex out. But I think they turned out pretty good. I'm actually really happy with them. Alright, so now we have everything ready to go. All of the backing on the bows is dried up and cured. So now's the part where we can actually start cutting and shaping and really making the bow. So we're going to focus on a few areas specifically before we start doing anything else. The ends here and here we're going to taper. So I don't know if you can see these lines here, but this is essentially a halfway point in the limb, and we're going to go from full length here down to 3/4, and we're going to cut that angle off. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now the limbs are different lengths, so it is important to measure each one individually. Once we do that, we're also going to taper across the belly of the limb. So we're going to take off about 1/4 inch here, and we're going to end up at nothing here, and we're going to cut that. Then we're going to be able to sand all of that smooth. Okay, so after a bit of shaping and sanding, we do have these bows one step closer to shooting some arrows. So you'll see that the biggest differences are now they taper from top to bottom on the ends here, and they also taper in thickness in the belly from top to bottom here. And this whole process, essentially, it's called floor tillering. So you're removing material without putting it on any kind of jig or device, but you're just removing enough material that you start to get a little bit of flex in the bow. And that means that you're ready for the next step, which is tillering. And to do that, you use one of these guys, which is a tillering stick, or a tillering ladder, or I'm sure there's plenty of other names for it. But essentially, the way this works is you place your handle of the bow in this notch here, you run a string across both ends, and you can slowly and incrementally start to pull it down. So this gives me a gauge of what the draw length is going to be, but I can also measure what the draw weight is going to be as I shape it. So from this point on, aside from any cosmetic sanding and things like that, we're not really going to do anything to the back of the bow. This is pretty much as far as we're going to go. There may be a few touch-ups here and there, but predominantly we're going to be working on the belly of the bow, or the part that faces you when you draw the bow. So we're just going to be removing material a little bit at a time, and it's going to be very tedious. You're just going to have to keep checking it and making sure that you are where you need to be, and that you're removing material evenly from the bow so that you get a nice smooth curve without any hot spots or hinges that could potentially break on the bow. I will say, as far as the finish of these guys, I'm actually really impressed with both of these. Once it cleaned up, the canvas feels really good. It's really soft, but it's a nice hard surface there. And the rawhide, really, I am super impressed with this. The rawhide was really smooth. It went on very evenly. I was even able to file some of the seams, the joints here, so that they're almost flush. And it looks and feels great. So I'm looking forward to tillering these guys, to getting them ready to go. And the next time we work on these, we're going to start cutting in the knock points for the strings so that we can start putting a string on there and get it ready for tillering. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.